Hey everybody, this is the Fantasy Sports Boss back with another video for you. And today I want to talk about the Green Bay Packers. Specifically speaking, the Green Bay Packers wide receiver situation. Obviously, probably the biggest move, or one of the biggest moves this past offseason, which was an absolute circus, was the Packers deciding to trade Davante Adams, their all-pro wideout, who had uncanny chemistry with Aaron Rodgers, to the Las Vegas Raiders. So what that did was leave a huge vacuum of targets and touches in the passing game for the incumbent receivers left behind, and also two that were drafted last April. So what I wanted to do today is, because projections have been all over the map about who's going to emerge, who's going to be the guy, who should be targeted, who's the best value. So I'm going to take them one at a time. All right, looking at the wideouts here. So what we can do right away is scratch Christian Watson, all right? The rookie, first round pick, North Dakota State, came down with an injury early in camp, and he's barely done any work this summer. And for somebody that's from a smaller program, had an increased learning curve already, and having very little time on the field with Aaron Rodgers, there's almost no chance that Watson's going to provide any meaningful numbers fantasy-wise, probably for the first month of the season, likely longer. So, and I think we've gotten to the point, too, now where we don't have to draft him. He's just a very late round guy if you do have a 5-receiver league or very deep league. So I wouldn't bother with Watson, so let's get that one out of the way. The other rookie, obviously, is more intriguing, Romeo Dobbs, the 4th-round pick. And from the very beginning, helped along by Peter King, Dobbs has been the talk of camp, making big plays, very athletic, good speed, earned trust from Aaron Rodgers right off the bat, and that's half the battle right there. On the flip side, we also learned that Dobbs has a case of the dropsies. Route running needs work. Has caught the ire of the coaches for the drops and some lackadaisical habits. So he's still a work in progress. I think the Packers coaching staff doesn't want to put too much pressure on him, same thing with Watson. I think Dobbs is ahead of Watson, but my initial feeling on this is that Dobbs is just going to be a depth piece at receiver, probably for the first few games. And then as the season goes on, I think he can get some more value, and he could be the better of the two, again, between him and Watson in terms of fantasy value. But Dobbs will get drafted in almost every league just because of all the hype this summer. But I'm not chasing him, and I don't think you should either, because I don't see an explosive rookie campaign out of him. I just don't. The rest of the guys, the veterans, we can also throw out Sammy Watkins. We've done the Sammy Watkins song and dance at all of his various stops. It's always the same story. He gets hurt, just doesn't get himself open enough, not consistent, doesn't meet expectations. If he couldn't do it with Patrick Mahomes, he's not going to do it with Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't done it anywhere. So for a guy who was such a highly sought-after prospect coming out of Clemson, it just hasn't happened. And it's not going to happen here. As a matter of fact, if Watkins gets off to a slow start, I wouldn't be surprised if they cut him loose. So it's just he's not worth a draft pick at all. Randall Cobb, one of Aaron Rodgers' best friends, he personally vouched for him. He wanted him to be brought back to the team, which they did. Slot guy, veteran slot guy. Did some nice work early in his career at Rodgers, and then he left. Hasn't really been an impact guy since in terms of fantasy football. I think Cobb will have, a solid game per month. He'll make an impact. In deep PPR leagues, 5-receiver deep PPR leagues, he might be able to make enough of an impact to be worth your attention. But I'm not buying him either. I mean, he's getting up there in age. Injuries are also an issue with him. Now, Allen Lazard is the one guy that everybody's going after, and I think they should. Rodgers also loves Lazard. He's talked him up constantly, especially this summer. And Lazard has ability. He's been a good red zone guy. All right, he's caught a high number of touchdowns per reception throughout his young career. Good size, good speed, not overly consistent yet, but he's the guy to own. And he's going in at affordable draft cost. It's come down. It was a little higher earlier this summer. It's come down of late. And I think Lazard's the one that's going to make the biggest impact. All right. I don't think he's going to catch 90 passes. He may not even catch 80, but 75 for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. I'll even go 10 touchdowns with him. I think is possible, and that's a very good wide receiver 3. He could reach low end wide receiver 2 status just because of Rodgers, but I think he's more high end wide receiver 3. That's the guy that you want to know. But as long as you classify him and draft him as a wide receiver 3. Now the wild card in all this is Robert Tonyan, the tight end. Those who are panning for gold at the tight end spot, I think Tonyan is worth a look. We've seen him 2 years ago put up a high number of touchdowns. He's another one that has Rodgers' trust in the red zone. Him and Lazard are the 2 red zone guys. And if you choose to go value at tight end, I think Tanyan's right there with David Njoku, Evan Ingram. All right, he's got that late round look to him. All right. We've seen him be a red zone guy before. He's coming back from a serious injury. Again, it might be a little slow out of the gate. You don't have to draft him. You can monitor him. If he does well early on, you can make a play for him. But I think Robert Tonyan is somebody who interests me a little bit. I think he's got that look of a classic late-round tight end, Austin Hooper, Irv Smith, Gerald Everett in that grouping. And since there's a lot of sleeper tight ends of that ilk, you don't have to draft him. But again, you can monitor him and make a play if he catches on early. With Rodgers in the offense. I think he'll be solid. He could surprise you. All right, so that's all for this video. Hit that subscribe button. All right, make sure you hit the notification button as well. More analysis coming, injury news, live shows, you name it. I'll have it for you. All right, so for now, have a good day, everybody. We'll talk soon.